Okay, today is Tuesday, March 22nd. It's my twin brother's birthday, Scott and Sean. They're both 48 years old today. Yeah, one lives in Hawaii and one lives in Summerside. But what we're going to do here is we're going to start with two questions for our warm-up. And those of you who are absent today, hello, Hunter. You guys can make sure that you follow along with this and make sure you try the question first, and then listen to the video and the explanation and see if you did it correctly. But don't just listen to the video. Press pause, try the question, and then press unpause to see if you did it correctly. So the first question says draw 0.3%. So if we're going to draw 0.3%, the first thing we need to add is 100. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want to add a hundreds grid, just like this. And if I was to shade in this much here, three of them, is that 0.3%? No, it is not. What is that? It's 30%. And when we talk about 0.3%, what we're really talking about, and I'm going to grab a smaller highlighter here, is less than half of 1%. That's what it kind of looks like. And what we're going to do here is we're going to magnify this square to show 0.3. So I'm going to draw that square right there. That's what it is there. I'm going to cut it 9 lines, make 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines, make 10 parts. Shade in 3 of them. And that magnification shows what 0.3% looks like. Okay? So all of you should have something fairly similar to that. Okay? That's what 0.3% looks like. As a fraction, since it's a percentage, what kind of fraction can I always make with it? A denominator of what? 100. So we can always make it as a denominator of 100, because it's a percentage. However, this doesn't look right, does it? 0.3% that way. So instead of using 0.3 as a fraction, we're going to use 0.3 as a decimal. And to change 0.3 to a decimal, we all know it's decimal 3, but if you didn't know that, 3 divided by the numerator divided by the denominator tells you what it is as a decimal. So as a fraction that's inappropriate, we would say 0.3 out of 100. To make it appropriate, what would I do, Calvin? Make it an equivalent fraction with a whole number as a numerator, and that means I have to multiply it by just 10. So I just have to move that decimal one spot to make this equivalent fraction of 3 over 1,000. That's my fraction. So now we have 2 parts done. We have the drawing done. We have the appropriate fraction done. And if I read that 3 over 1,000 as 3,000ths, I can write it as a decimal as tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So there's my picture. There's my fraction. And there's my decimal. Our second question says draw 105%, write it as a fraction and a decimal. So again, if we're going to draw it, since we're drawing percentages, we're going to start with our hundreds grid. But because we're dealing with more than 100%, we actually have to have 2 of these in here, right? Because 100% will be this. That's 100% of a tank of gas, or 100% of a box of whatever this yellow stuff, urine probably, box of urine. I don't know, what else is yellow? Fine, lemonade. Yeah, you had to go somewhere that way. I like urine better. And then, of course, since that's 100%, our remaining 5% would be here. And if you want to think of it this way, this is always a good way to think of it. This is 100 parts out of 100, and this is 5 parts out of 100. And if we were to add those together, of course, since they already have a common denominator, we would have 105 out of 100, which ironically is also the fraction part. What kind of fraction is that? It's improper, and we don't want to have an improper fraction. We should always change it to mixed if we can, and if possible, always change it to a lowest term fraction. What would 1 in 500ths be in lowest terms? 1 in 1/20th, because both are divisible by 5. That's right. Now, which of those answers is also going to tell me what it looks like as a decimal? Is it going to be 100 500ths, 1 in 500ths, or 1 in 1/20th? The second one, the 1 in 500ths. Because if I read this as 1 in 500ths, it's 1 and 500. Okay. So as a picture, that's what it looks like. As a fraction, that, and that are all correct. They're all the fraction form. And that's your decimal form.